Welcome to AI Dispatch, your channel for the latest AI videos on YouTube. If you don't want to miss these updates, please like, subscribe, and share. Today's video comes from Lenny's podcast. Joining us is two-time unicorn founder Jason Cohen. He argues that raising prices can actually increase signups and that your marketing team is mathematically destined to lose against your cancellation rate. He presents a series of viewpoints on business growth that don't just tweak standard advice, they completely invert the logic of how companies grow and die. Let's dive into his counterintuitive playbook for stalled growth. Suppose someone told you that raising your prices would actually increase your customer sign-up rate, or that your marketing team is mathematically destined to lose against your cancellation rate. Jason Cohen, a two-time unicorn founder, presents a series of viewpoints on business growth that don't just tweak standard advice. They completely invert the logic of how companies grow and die. Consider first his brutal inversion of mathematical logic regarding why companies stop growing. The standard industry view is that customer churn, people cancelling your service, is a leaky bucket problem. You just need to pour more water in, meaning do more marketing to compensate for the leaks. Cohen challenges this as a fatal misunderstanding of how numbers work. He states that cancellations grow exponentially while marketing only grows linearly. His logic is terrifyingly simple. Marketing teams don't care how big your company is. They produce a fixed number of new leads per month, but churn is a percentage of your total install base. As you grow, the absolute number of people leaving automatically triples or quadruples while your marketing team is still celebrating the same number of new signups. He provides a formula that acts as a hard ceiling on your company's existence. You take your new customers per month and divide it by your monthly cancellation rate. That number is the maximum number of customers you will ever have. If you bring in 100 people and lose 5%, your company creates a mathematical wall at 2,000 customers. No amount of branding or vision changes that. He believes most founders are trying to outrun a mathematical law that ensures their stagnation. Shift attention now to the violation of common sense in customer feedback. When a customer cancels, the most common reason selected on a survey is, it's too expensive. Common sense dictates you should lower your price or offer a discount. Cohen says this is almost never the real reason. In fact, he suggests treating this feedback as a lie. His reasoning creates an ontological shock regarding customer psychology. The customer already bought the product, they already looked at the pricing page, evaluated the cost, and swiped their credit card. By definition, they decided it was not too expensive. When they cancel and claim price is the issue, it's actually a failure of the product to fulfill the promise the customer bought into. Perhaps it lacked an integration or the onboarding failed. Too expensive is just a polite way of saying you didn't deliver the value I expected. He believes trusting this data point leads companies into a death spiral of discounting rather than fixing the actual product gap. This leads directly into his most counterintuitive viewpoint on economics, the inversion of the supply and demand curve. Open any Microeconomics 101 textbook, and it will tell you that as price goes up, demand goes down. Cohen observes that in the world of B2B software and enterprise sales, this law is often false. He has observed that raising prices can actually increase the sign-up rate. This defies standard logic, but his explanation is rooted in market signaling. A low price signals low quality, poor support, and a lack of longevity. A company with 1,000 employees and $400 million in revenue will simply refuse to buy a $10 tool because they assume it cannot possibly be robust enough for their needs. By raising the price, you aren't just charging more, you are fundamentally changing the market segment you are speaking to. You are signaling that you are a serious vendor capable of serving serious clients. The price acts as a filter that attracts the right customers rather than repelling them. Even more fascinating is his view on ontological value, how the exact same code can be sold for 8x the price simply by changing the words used to describe it. He uses the example of a hypothetical product that optimizes Google AdWords. If you position the product as cutting your AdWords costs in half, you are anchoring your value to savings. If a client spends $40,000, saving them $20,000 means you can maybe charge $5,000. But if you take that same software, touch not a single line of code, and reposition it as doubling your leads for the same budget, the math changes entirely. A client willing to spend $40,000 for X leads will happily spend another $40,000 to get 2X leads. You have shifted the ontology of the product from a cost-saving tool to a growth engine. The software is identical, but but the human perception of its value has shifted from a capped utility to an uncapped revenue generator, allowing you to charge $40,000 instead of $5,000. Turn now to his engineering heresy regarding data-driven decision-making, specifically A/B testing. In the modern tech world, A/B testing is treated as religious dogma. If you aren't testing every button, color, and headline, you aren't being scientific. Cohen argues that for most companies, A/B testing is a dangerous waste of time that produces false positives. His logic attacks the statistical rigor of the industry. He believes that unless you have the massive scale of a Google or Amazon, your sample sizes are too small to produce statistically significant results on strategic decisions. You might think version B won, but it's often just random noise. Worse, he believes A/B testing is used as a crutch to avoid making bold, visionary bets. You cannot A/B test a vision. You cannot A/B test a fundamental pivot in strategy. Relentless optimization of the micro details often blinds founders to the fact that they are optimizing a product that is stuck on a declining curve. He couples this with the elephant curve concept. Standard business theory teaches the S-curve growth starts slow, shoots up, and then plateaus. Cohen says the S-curve is optimistic fiction. In reality, marketing channels don't just plateau, they rot, they degrade. Audiences get saturated, ad costs rise, and novelty wears off. The curve doesn't flatten. It sags like the back of an elephant. If you are relying on yesterday's winning channel to drive tomorrow's growth, you are already dying because the channel itself is decaying beneath your feet. Cohen consistently bypasses the comforting metrics such as 5% churn is fine or the A/B test passed and examines the mechanical constraints of the systems we construct. What we label stalled growth isn't usually a streak of bad luck. It is the mathematical inevitability of the systems we have designed. The question remains, if your growth has stalled, are you trying to fix it with more marketing? Or are you ready to accept that your entire model might be mathematically capped? If you're interested in the video featured in this episode, click the link below to watch the original.